Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm posting after a long gap, but I'll be more regular. And I'm sitting in a outdoor location uh, in Delhi. I am sitting in Buddha Jayanti Park, which is in central Delhi in the Ridge area. And interestingly, there's a connection between the book I'll talk about and this place, Buddha Jayanti Park. So let's get started. The book I'm talking about is Fallen City, Fallen City by Sudeep Chakravarti, and there is a subtitle which reads A Double Murder, Political Insanity, and Delhi's Descent from Grace. So, this book is about a particular case that happened in Delhi in 1978. It was known as Sanjay and Geeta murder case. It was also known by the name of the two culprits, Ranga Billa. So this book just came out last month. I bought it, and so this book presents the portrait of the city Delhi at that time. So it talks about the case. It goes through all the documents, all the reports of the case, and people who have lived in Delhi in the 70s would know the case very well because it was as big, if not bigger, than the recent RG Car Medical College scandal or Nirbhaya case back in the Delhi about 10 years ago. So this is a book which details the case, and it paints a picture of the city of Delhi at that time. So let's dive into the book. Let me tell you more about the book and the case. So let me just first give you the outline of the case because a lot of you may not know this. So this case pertains to August 1978. That day, 26th August, was a Saturday. Two young uh, people, like one young girl, Geeta Chopra, about 17 years of age, student of JMC, which is Jesus and Mary College in Chanakyapuri, and her brother, Sanjay Chopra, who was 15 years old, a student of modern school. It was around 6 o'clock in the evening. They had to go to All India Radio for a recording for a program which was aimed at young people. It was called Yuvwani, and they were the son and daughter of a naval officer who had been transferred from Bombay to Delhi only 7-8 months back. So the father's name was Madan Mohan Chopra and mother's name Roma Chopra. So now they leave on Saturday evening around 6 o'clock from Dhalakua. Um, there is still that accommodation of armed forces. So they left home, and their father was to pick them up at 9 o'clock from All India Radio station in Connaught Place area, Parliament Street. And as luck would have it, the father reached the All India Radio station at 9 o'clock, and he looked around. He could not find his son and daughter. He called up friends, and this was pre-mobile days. This is pre-internet, pre-social media. So, but he ran around and he met people, and he, within 1 hour, he knew that his son and daughter have gone missing because they were not at their relative's place. They had not gone to their friend's place. Also, he was suspicious because at 8 o'clock, when he tuned into the radio, instead of his daughter and son on the program, there were other people, and he thought maybe it was a programming thing and maybe they put somebody else there. By 10:15, he was sure that his son and daughter have disappeared, and he went to the police station, lodged a report. And because he was a naval officer, he also reported to his authorities, his seniors, and they also got into action because it was late in the night, and the kids were nowhere to be seen. Nothing, no news from them. So the police also swung into action. There was pressure on them. So by next day, it was a Sunday, and news would spread slowly because it was pre-internet. Uh, some of the clues police found. So they got to know from one person that there was a boy and a girl in a Fiat car, driven by two people, apparently six, who were driving the car, and these boy and girl were struggling inside the car and they were shouting. So one person spotted that, and he had reported it to the police. Then second person gave a more detailed account. His name was Inderjeet Singh, an engineer with DDA. He actually saw the car. He saw these boy and girls struggling. He followed the car for a distance of about 2-3 kilometers from Gold Dakhana area to Upper Ridge Road, very close to the place I am sitting right now, in Rajendra Nagar area. And he lost the car, sight of the car, because the car jumped a red light, and Inderjeet Singh on a scooter could not do that. But like a good person, he went to the police station in Rajendra Nagar at 6:45, and he reported a complaint. He lodged a complaint. He gave the car's registration number. He gave complete description. Now this was a big lapse of the police. They did not act on it, and so all these things, this were happening on Sunday. So there was a massive search launched for the boy and the girl, and as events unfolded, roughly about 50 hours later, maybe 2 days after the disappearance of the kids, their bodies were discovered in the ridge area, which is just behind the place I am sitting, in this area. This is Buddha Jayanti Park, and all hell broke loose because the bodies were in a state of disintegration. The post-mortem report suggested that the boy and the girl were attacked brutally. They were attacked with sharp weapon. They had multiple injuries on their bodies, and they had died sometime around 10 o'clock on Saturday night. So this is what came out. Simultaneously, one more thing happened. One police official, Havaldar or constable, on duty on Saturday at Wellington Hospital. It is now called Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, again in the same area. He was on duty, and there was two young people came, and one guy had a very sharp cut on his head which required many stitches, and the doctor on duty at that time told the patient to get admitted for 2 days, and the patient concocted some story. Because it was a police case, you had a sharp injury, a police constable on duty questioned these two people, and they gave him a story about the fact that somebody tried to rob them on the road, and there was a struggle, and that's how the injury came. They gave him fictitious names, fictitious story, and still the constable took them to the police station in Connaught Place area, and they were let off with the warning that they have to come next morning, because the police constable was not convinced about the story. As luck would have it, this would play a crucial role later on, because these were the notorious criminals, Ranga and Billa. And later on, a manhunt was launched across India. A prize was put up of 50,000 rupees. The entire media was up in arms. There was a non-stop coverage. Morarji Desai of Janata Party was the Prime Minister. He visited the parents and he offered condolences. He put his entire team on the case. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a young foreign minister, and he had a youth connect at that time. So he went to meet the students. Students had taken out a procession near India Gate, and the tempers were running so high, students were so upset that Atal Bihari Vajpayee was attacked, and he was injured very badly. He had a cut on his forehead which required stitches, and he had to remain in hospital for 3-4 days. So all this was happening. So this book gives you details of the case, tells you about how events unfolded. The book has got two tracks. One is the trajectory of the case, how it unfolded in Delhi. Secondly, it paints a portrait of the city at that time, which is how the city was, how people here lived, what were the headlines of that time, what were the concerns of people of Delhi at that time. So it's a slim book. It's not a very thick book, and it's kind of readable. Though I feel that somewhere the writer could have done a better job of presenting Delhi of that time. I think the writer tried to do too much of analysis, which is where he kind of lost track a little bit. But overall, it's a good read. So coming back to the case, and it's very strange. Eventually, police, across the country, it's not just in Delhi, in Bombay, in Chennai, in Hyderabad, in Calcutta, everybody was on the case. there was a national massive hunt. And after a few days, everybody was embarrassed because they couldn't find any clues. Gradually, a series of clues came out because police was on the case and everybody was working on it. So it emerged that one criminal from Bombay had come to Delhi, and he had committed this crime. Then some more details emerged. Then the picture that was painted was that there were two people with the alias of Ranga and Billa who were in Bombay, who came to Delhi just a week or 8 days before this incident. They came to Delhi with the intention of escaping the heat in Bombay because they were followed by the police. Billa had committed two murders of Arab citizens. Arabs used to come to Bombay a lot at that time, and there was pressure on the police to arrest Billa. He had committed many other crimes, and Ranga and Billa had actually met just a month prior to this incident in Bombay. So they came to Delhi with the intention of making money, kidnapping someone for ransom, and then things really went bad. But this was in the future. This would be revealed later on. So what happened was that police was piecing together this entire story based on investigation by Bombay and Delhi police and other authorities. And then there was a big breakthrough in the case. Okay, before that, the police also found within 3 days the Fiat car that was used in the case for the kidnapping and murder in Majlis Park area of Adarsh Nagar in North Delhi. And police did a forensic, they found fingerprints and all. That is how it got them started on the investigation. That's how they put the clues together. Now coming back to this arrest of Ranga and Billa, it's a most hilarious thing, because it seems very farcical how they got arrested. In Agra, a train was coming, Howrah Mail was coming from Calcutta, going to Delhi, onwards to Kalka, I think. So in Agra, there was a compartment reserved for armed personnel. So it was full of armed forces people coming back home on vacation. They were all in their fatigues. They all had arms because they are armed forces. And one man got into the compartment and he looked very suspicious. And on questioning that who are you and why are you here, the armed police people became very suspicious. And then one of the officers recognized the face because it was put in all the newspapers at that time. And then a second guy came in through the window, and both were kind of taken in custody by armed forces in Agra. And in Delhi, when the train stopped at Old Delhi railway station, they were handed over to the police. And then there was non-stop media coverage of these two people, Ranga and Billa. And imagine, before social media, people got their news only from newspapers and magazines. And there were so many stories and theories about these two people. Anyway, police arrested them, got confession from them. Confession would give a detailed account of how it all happened. And let me just briefly tell you what actually happened. So what actually happened was that Sanjay and Geeta left home around 6:10 at Dhola. They were given a lift by a person called MS Nanda in his car, and he dropped them off at Goldakhana because he was going to Connaught Place. So then from Goldakhana to All India Radio is basically about 7-8 minutes walk, maybe 10-minute walk. But they were late, so they wanted to take another lift, and that is where things went wrong, because they stopped a car in which Ranga and Billa were there. And the moment Sanjay and Geeta sat in the car, these two people sped away in the car, and Sanjay and Geeta knew that things have gone absolutely wrong. There is something terrible that's going to happen. They started shouting, they started fighting, they were like resisting them. And Ranga and Billa had bought kirpan and knives from Old Delhi. So they were carrying these knives and kirpan with them, and they slapped both Sanjay and Geeta. They in fact threatened them. They also used knife to make them feel scared. So there was some bit of blood coming out of the shoulder of Sanjay, the brother. and Geeta. So that is how some people noticed it, and they tried to stop these people from running away. They followed the car. If only police had been a little more alert, more efficient, this case could have been avoided. And then it makes for a very sad reading what actually happened after that. And this comes from the confession of Ranga and Billa, separate confessions. Basically, they drove around and then they came to Buddha Jayanti Park in the parking outside. They gave the money to the attendant because this park closes at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and they came around 7:30. So they gave bakshish, some money to the gardener and the attendant, and then they came inside. They figured that there is no money that's going to come to them because these are sons and daughter of a naval officer. But now these Ranga and Billa, there's a lot of backstory of Ranga and Billa in the book, which I won't recount because it will spoil the fun. But Ranga and Billa were in two minds. They had to either kill these kids because they thought that if they don't kill them, they will spill the entire thing to the police and they would be caught, which is again very foolish. But anyway, nobody knows exactly what happened because these are accounts by Ranga and Billa. They drank, they took the boy somewhere else nearby. Ranga says that Billa did it, Billa says Ranga did it, but the boy was attacked and killed. The girl, Geeta, was raped first by Billa, then by Ranga, and then by Billa again. Now this is again from their confession, which they later retracted in the court. Anyway, it made for a reading which literally shook me up. I mean, I would not say more about it because it's, even after so many years, it made me feel so repelled by the entire, how human beings can be so bad. We are capable of such cruelty. Anyway, and this animal behavior was terrible. Coming back to the book, so I have told you a lot about this case. Rest you can discover when you read the book. I thought I'll do a review in Buddha Jayanti Park because it will give you some bit of flavor of the setting of the book. The book is, I have one grouse. I mean, the author Sudeep Chakravarti is a good writer. He's written many books in the past. He has been a journalist in the past. He has written a book like Red Sun, which is on the next slide moment. He has written a book called The Bengalis, which actually is one of the most interesting accounts of the Bengali community. He has written a book on the Northeast, and he has written a very interesting memoir called Tin Fish about his growing up in the 60s and 70s. One reason Sudeep wrote this book is that he was a young boy, about 17-year-old at that time, and he followed the case. He was studying in Ajmer at Mayo College, and he followed the case in the newspaper reports, and he always wanted to write about it and paint a portrait of the city. So yeah, there are lots of things in the book which I can go on talking. Yeah, but read the book if you are interested in Delhi's past and want to know about the case. I have only one other grouse, the publisher Rupa Company, which is LF Books, which is an imprint of Rupa. They have priced this book at 799 rupees, 800 rupees. Now, this is a book which should be read by more people, but why would you want to price it at 800 rupees? I bought it, but I can see that this book will not sell in great numbers. This pricing strategy is not great. Even the Kindle edition is priced at the same amount. So I wish they would pay attention to pricing and make it a little more affordable. Do read the book. I think it's an interesting book. Though I feel that the writer has tried to paint a portrait of Delhi at that time, and he's only partially succeeded. He could have done a better job by being less academic. He has also tried to be a little more intellectual and academic, and he has theorized a lot of things which probably was not required. You could have spoken with some more people from that time to get a feel and pulse of Delhi of those times. In fact, I would love to do an episode about Delhi in the 70s, and probably I'll do it soon. I'm reading another book about Delhi in 60s and 70s. Probably I'll do that. Do tell me what you think of it, because this review has become very long and I can talk for another half an hour. So if you really want long reviews, do tell me. I'm only too happy to do long reviews. So thank you very much for watching. I might have missed out some details. Do comment and I would love to reply in the comments. Thank you very much.